My name is Tobe Hooper. I directed this film. This is the special edition of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Elite Entertainment. By the way, the voice that you're listening to is John Larroquette.
Is an account of the tragedy which befell.
And I'm Gunnar Hansen. I was Leatherface.
I'm Daniel Pearl. I was the director of photography on the film, and this is the first time the three of us have been together since we finished the picture.
Yeah.
Had they lived very, very long lives.
Now John, 23 years ago, whatever it was, I wanted this narrative to sound like Orson Welles, so I asked John Larroquette to do his best at Orson Welles. Still sounds like John Larroquette.
One of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American
The biggest shock I had when this film came out was that you ruined the title. Because you remember the title on the script was Leatherface, and I really thought this was my great chance to be immortal. And then I saw this title and I thought, oh my God, what have they done to this movie?
I remember Tobe mentioned he's going to change the title right near the end of the picture, and we were pretty disappointed because we were used to shooting under the title of Leatherface, but time's shown us it was a good idea.
Well, it's certainly better than the idea of the other alternate title, which I believe was Head Cheese.
Yeah, Head Cheese. That was the original title.
Yeah.
Right, this sequence is meant to give you a piece of the puzzle that you're about to assimilate, and to kind of freak you out a little bit, and give you some disturbing, foreboding clues as to what you're about to see.
I remember when Tobe was talking about shooting this sequence and the absence of any light at all, having no light at all on it, it just struck me as as odd, and that to be no light at all in a scene, come and go out of complete blackness, but it works that way. And, cinematographers, we always want to have something lit, and it's not always necessary, because you can see it's very effective the way it is.
Now this scene, help me remember this. I believe that this is a reshoot.
It's a pickup.
It's a pickup, yeah. The original story didn't open this way, and I don't even know if when the group in the van arrive at the cemetery to look for their grandpa. I don't remember, was that in the original script, or was that a part of this reshoot?
The scene where they arrive, the group arriving at the cemetery the first time, was part of the script and something that we shot in the principal of photography.
After I got over my extreme disappointment over the change in the title, I remember being very surprised to see all this, because of course I wasn't in on any of that discussion, so the whole beginning of the movie seemed so different from what I was expecting when it came out.
Yeah, by the time the film was finished, Gunnar, I didn't know what you looked like.
By the time I was finished filming, I didn't either. I had a pretty clear image of what you looked like, though.
Yeah.
We did have, I remember, long debates about whether it ever reveal your identity on screen or not, and we came close to shooting it one night. Did we actually shoot it, or?
No, I don't think we did. What we shot was making himself up,
right?
I think.
That's as close as we got,
yeah.
But there was a lot of, I remember you and thinking about it for a long time about whether you would think we would ever show him or not, or...
Yeah.
I'm really glad he didn't. I mean, I think that was the real power of the character. It's like Darth Vader exposed.
Exactly.
There he is.
Well, the sunspot. you have the very best sunspot.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of movie scholars get really excited when they see this solar stuff and the moon stuff. They think it really has some deep significance.
So Ron Bozeman's name go by. Ron was one of the producers on...
And Jay Parsley, who saved my life.
Yeah, did he?
During the late in the shooting, when we were all out of our heads, and it was 110 degrees or whatever it was, I was standing outside, completely unable to think, in the sun, and he called somebody over and made them take my mask off, led me to his white Buick Riviera, opened the trunk where it was filled with ice and Lone Star beer. He gave me 2 Lone Stars, put me in the passenger seat, turned the air conditioner on, and took me for a drive.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'd be always grateful to him.
That's cool. Well, anyway, Ron Bozeman was one of the producers on Silence of the Lamb, and I think he remarked, or Kim Hinkle told me that, I think Ron said that You know, the most successful films had been this and Silence of the Lambs that he had been part of the production team on. That's hearsay. I think he said that.
There's Ted's van. His van. We had two vans amongst us. We had the sound man on this one, and I owned another van that was a little bit smaller. One had to be the grip truck, one was going to be the picture truck, and it was our decision for shooting room to use the big one as the picture truck, so the little one became the grip truck. Give you some idea of the kind of shoestring budget we were working on.
And we're also here seeing the man that I absolutely hated, Paul Partain, because he was so into his character as Franklin that, first of all, I never saw him out of the wheelchair, and he whined all the time, I mean off camera. So he was really the one person I was really happy to kill, because I knew he would be off the set after that.
Toby, Jim Franklin, was a friend of ours, told me some years later that the part Franklin was intended for him originally. Is that true?
That's true. That's true. The part was named after him, and I've forgotten what happened. I asked him, he couldn't do it or something. I'm not sure why Jim Franklin didn't do the picture. Paul Partain, by the way, did an excellent job.
Yeah.
He called me out of the blue last winter. I hadn't talked to him since the day he died. And we had nothing to say to each other.
I guess not, yes.
What can you say to a dead man?
Right. Now, I checked along the way with the MPAA. This film was made when there was a G rating, a PG, and an R. And I wanted to get a PG, you know, and at least this was the dialogue with the MPAA. So we agreed that, kind of in theory, that we may get a PG if there is no blood shown, and of course it depends on how effective the film was. But so there isn't really that much blood in this film. I mean, people have images of this film, and immediately they say blood. But as you watch the film, notice, I think there's probably about 2 ounces.
That was John Henry Falk, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah, John Henry Falk.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting about the business with the blood, because a year and a half ago, a fellow came up to me and said, "This movie has the best special effects I've ever seen in a film. Why can't they do them like this?" And I said, well, the reason is because there aren't any. And he said, no, absolutely not. I saw all this happen. And he was just absolutely convinced that you had put it on.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I mean, people have argued with me that this film is bloody.
You know what I like about that was the way you cut that when he's taking a breath. Here.
I don't mean to be contrary, but I know how much blood was made.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I know you do. But
and it tasted really good, by the way.
but Daniel, it was watch and see. I mean, a lot of it's on the walls.
Yes, exactly.
And it's dried, and it's
very true. The majority of it was used on the set. There's no doubt about that. But
and Marilyn.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
but I remember one night. You'll see with the attack on the character Franklin at night in the wheelchair when you know you were literally I don't know if you were using. I was shooting, so I couldn't see exactly where it was coming from. I know it was coming from cups full or something, or mouths full or whatever. It was flying everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
Well, in fact,
I don't remember. We may have been spitting it. I'm not sure.
In fact, when Franklin died, you know, there was one person. In fact, you were one of them, flicking blood up from either side of it.
Yes.
And then at the end, you can see the big gobbet of blood is when you sort of seem to get frustrated, and you just threw the whole cup of blood at me, and this is big hit on me.
Right.
Well, I'll watch for that, Gunnar.
By the way, this when I saw the film for the first time was the creepiest moment in a movie I'd ever experienced. These close-ups on the cattle.
That's some more of the pickups you did, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was about
that one.
Yeah, it's about 100 miles away, I think. Now this van, Daniel, the van that we're in, was wrecked, right?
This van, yeah.
It hit a cow, right?
God, I don't know what the. I don't know what. I'm not exactly sure what the fate of it is. You can see. I remember being a little bit disappointed coming out of this because the windows blew out. You see there's very little detail outside the windows,
Yeah.
but I was 23 years old at the time we did this. I was very new to this.
I always thought you overexposed this on purpose.
I was just exposing the film, as best I could. Nowadays, big rigs, lighting everywhere, and all that stuff. I'm not sure it'd be any more effective, but it certainly would go to a lot greater lengths than we did.
Yeah, it burned out on us. I mean, we could have. People have asked me, why didn't we shoot this poor man's? you know, while it's standing still.
Right.
But
well, we didn't know it was going to burn.
yeah, no, we didn't know it was going to. But actually driving the car and that heat really helped. It helped the performances. It was
But the way
hard
it was-
on us,
This is a great shot. I remember when you came to me and said, this is going to get this wide shot, just run this car really small down across the bottom of the frames, really.
yeah,
Nice composition.
But the way the film was exposed here, I also thought it really made it feel hot.
Yeah,
and,
hot and-
and really caught the feeling.
And I remember Alan Danziger, the driver, getting upset at one point during this sequence, and it seems like, I don't know. Do you remember, Daniel?
What was it about?
I don't know what the heat probably.
The heat. Well, good thing we weren't lighting it. Only would have been hotter.
Oh God, yeah.
especially the lights we had in '73.
Yeah, no kidding.
You better be.
Sun guns. God. Oh, it was hot. I mean, shooting at the interiors.
Very, very hot.
Slow speed film.
Believe me, you guys didn't know hot.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, no, we
did. We did.
Remember, I was the guy in the rubber head.
Right.
As Toby just mentioned, we used a slow speed film. This film, for those of you who are interested in this sort of technical talk, was shot in 16 millimeter, blown up to 35 millimeter for release. At the time, there was only one negative stock, and the quality, we were told, it would not be very good if we shot it in 16 millimeter. So we were led to shoot it on the finest grain stock that existed at the time. We didn't want the picture to be outrageously grainy. So we shot a picture called ECO, shot a film called ECO, rather, and it's very, very slow, even by slower than even the finest grain films today. It was an ASA 25 film stock. For example, it requires 4 times as much light as sort of a normal speed film does today. So the combination of that, our very slow film stock, and not having an outrageously big supply of lights. I had never seen a 5K or a 10K before we started this film, and I think I got 2 5s and 1 10 for the night. And they're not even considered all that big by today's standards, but we went through a lot to preserve, get the best look we could on this slow film stock, but it did often mean it was very hot. Although here, I'm pretty certain I'm just shooting this basically available light, but it was a very hot time in Texas when we were doing the movie.
Very, very hot. Ed Neal was particularly good in this scene. He's really good in the film. Ouch.
I remember watching Ed play this scene and think I'd never quite seen anything like this. We started with this, didn't we? I mean, the film was pretty much shot in sequence.
I think we did, yeah. I think it was shot almost in sequence.